couch, dogs, me, guitar lessons. Hey there, Lickin' Riffers, how are you doing? I'm Asaf Levavi and I welcome you to the second lesson in Finally Understanding Chords, the full 10-lesson chord theory course right here on Lickin' Riff, in which we unlock the neck for guitar harmony. Everything from simple chords to complex chords, everything in between. I'm going to show you any embellishment you can think of, any chord shape you can think of, and why it's there and why it looks the way it does. And for that, we need to know the basic chord structure. So even if you think you know the minor and major chords, we're not talking about shapes here. We're talking about why the notes are in the position they are, why the chord looks like this and not like this, for example. So if you haven't watched the first video, I strongly recommend it, and also go watch the introduction, because there I introduce this table, the embellishment table. Okay, it's very, very important to know, because this kind of puts everything in order. The guitar isn't in order. Okay, it's not like a keyboard, so this table will help keep us straight. So if you have no idea what these numbers mean, go watch the introduction. I break it down for you. So in this second video, we're going to discuss the most important embellishment of them all, the seventh. The seventh chord, the minor seventh chord, and the major seventh chord. Okay, and again, we're not discussing the shape itself. We're talking about why it's shaped like that. So even if you know seventh chords, this may come in handy, because the seventh chords are actually basis for more complex chords. So how do you find the seventh? If you remember, there are two voicings on the guitar neck, E and G. Everything else is derived from that. So let's start with an A chord. Okay, this time, just to vary it a little. So if you remember, the voicing of an A chord is 1, 5, 8, 3, and 5. And if you remember, you have a major third and a minor third. Okay, depending on whether you're playing a major or a minor chord. It's that simple. But you also have a major 7 and a minor 7. So it's the same thing. The major 7 is the 7th note of the major scale, and the minor 7 note is the 7th note of the minor scale. And it's really easy to check it out. If you have an A chord, then what is the 7 close to? It's close to 8, right? So this is the 8th note. It's the octave of the root. So 8. Below it, a fret below, you have the major 7. A fret below, you have the minor 7. So if you want to hear how they do with their respective scales, then play a major chord and add the major 7. Okay, fret below this. So it's 1 on the 3rd string. So it's a major 7th chord, probably the most pleasant chord in existence. Major 7. Sounds great, right? Now let's play a minor chord. Okay, and let's add a minor 7, 2 frets below the 8, because it's 8, major 7, minor 7. So a minor chord with its respective 7th note, a minor 7th chord. Sounds great, doesn't it? But what happens if you add a major 7 note to a minor chord? You get this. This is kind of a sophisticated chord. When you first hear it, it doesn't sound that good, but in time you grow to like it. It's a really nice chord, actually, when you get to know it. So it's a minor major 7. But if we take it the other way around, we get the most important chord of them all, the 7th chord. The 7th chord, the dominant 7th chord, is a major chord with a minor 7th. That creates the tension, and this is the basis for all tension in all music. Maybe except for a sus4 chord resolving itself for the major chord, but don't take me to court for saying that. So the 7th chord, it's a major chord with the minor 7. Remember? 8, major 7, minor 7. This is the 7th chord, and that's why it sounds the way it does, and that's why it works, because this is a tritone, and a tritone, when put in this order, in this sequence, inside this chord, wants to resolve itself to D. But we're not discussing theory here, we're talking about chord theory. So that's a 7th chord. Every time you see a 7, you know that it's A major with a minor 7. So you can actually write A big M, small m, 7. But nobody does that because by now everybody knows that a 7th chord looks like this on the guitar and sounds like this. But I wanted you to know why. Now you know why. Now let's go to E7. It's exactly the same thing. You have 8 here. So 8, and then the major 7. Okay, major with a major 7. You have the minor 7. Okay, minor chord with the minor 7. Or major chord with minor 7, which is a 7th chord. Now let's go to D. In D we have the 8 here. So the major 7 will be a fret below that, and the minor 7 will be a fret below that. Okay, starts to make sense? Now let's discuss the G shape. Okay, now in G you have 1, 3, 5, 1. This is an open string. You can't do a lot with that, so you go to the 5. So it's 1, 3, 5, and if you look at the table, you have 5, sharp 5, 6, minor 7, major 7. So if you add this to G, you get this, and you get G7. But this is a more closed shape, it's a more jazzy shape. And you have another 7 there if you go an octave up. If you go an octave up, you get the 8 here. So 8, minor 7, major 7. And let's give it a listen. 8, major 7, very, very pleasant. Minor 7. Okay, which is not a minor 7th chord, it's the minor 7 on the major chord. So it's a 7th chord. Okay, it's a major chord, major. This is the major 3rd, minor 3rd here. But you also have the 3rd here, so you can't really make this a minor because it's an open string. Again, trouble. The G shape is pretty peculiar, you can't really overuse it, so we'll discuss the uses of it in a second. I just want to show you that it works. So, G, G major 7, G7. Now let's talk about the applications. The applications show up in the C chord. Okay, and that's another very, very important thing to know, because you have C, right? And you have 1, 3, 5, 8, 3. So we'll take the 5th, open 3rd string. So 5, sharp 5, or flat 13, no reason to say that yet. Then 6, and then 7, the minor 7 and the major 7. So this would be C7. Remember, it's 5, sharp 5, 6, 7. And you probably recognize this chord, it's C7. C major 7 would be this or this, because 4 on the 3rd string and the open 2nd string are the same note, but more importantly, because this is 8 in the sequence of the notes. So if this is 8, this is the major 7. I really hope that it's starting to make sense, okay? Because the moment you learn to see it, you will never unsee it. So this is the major 7 or this. chords like this one makes a world of difference, and it's because the major 7 is here in the C shape. Okay, so C7, C major 7, or C minor 7. Okay, remember this is the third, the major third. This is the minor third. Okay, this is the 7, the minor 7. Okay, now let's go back to E and A, and we have another 7 to find. If this is A, if this is 5, then we can count it the same way we did in G and C. 5, sharp 5, 6, 7. So A, 7. Okay, or barring for 2. Okay, and you have 7. Again, because 5, sharp 5, 6, 7. And of course, major 7. Okay, on 4. Just count it. Just go by the table and count it. And you can also start adding them up. You can do a 7 like this with a 7 here. You can do a major 7 with the major 7 here. A bit uncomfortable, but still possible. And you can do a minor 7 here. A minor 7 with a high 7 as well. And a low 7. Same thing with E. You have the 5 here, second string. So it's the same thing. 7 is here, major 7 is here. So E, 7. E, major 7. Or E7 with a higher 7 as well. Starting to make sense? Starting to really build up and understanding the chord shapes. Now you know the 7s, and we're going to build on them when we start talking about complex chords. Then the next lesson we're going to discuss sus2, sus4, and add 9, and the difference between sus2 and add 9. We're also going to talk a little bit about 9. There's a difference between a 9th chord and an add 9 chord. We're going to discuss that too, but I'll let you go practice, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.